So, hey everyone, a very good morning to everyone, those who are joining here. So, today we are going to talk about Azure Bot Services, and we have our expert speaker, Deepak Pal sir. We are here, and he is a senior system developer at PPD, and he's a multi-phase personality as an and has an incredible experience in Azure. So, he'll be taking care he will be taking care about the Azure Bot Services, and he'll be give you an hands-on experience about Azure Bot Services. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, Lakshit. Thanks. Thank you so much for the nice introduction. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Azure sessions and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as whenever from you are joining us today. So today, like we are going to talk about Azure Bot Services. I mean, we have been talking about. We are using bot services. I mean, nowadays in everywhere. So I'm also going to share my screen. Just give me a minute. Okay. So, Lakshit, you can put my screen on the screen. Yeah, I hope it's visible to you guys. Lakshit, can you confirm? Yeah. So it's visible. Yeah.
Yes, sir, it's very
So, okay, thanks for the confirmation. So before starting, just a little bit about myself. So I'm currently working as senior system developer at PPT. It's a part of a Thermo Fisher Scientific, and prior to that, I worked at BNP Paribas as a software engineer and senior software engineer at ESS. I'm also a part of Azure developer community organizers and speakers for the Mumbai and Kanpur community. Though it's spread across 100 plus cities, so we are assigned some particular cities. So I'm looking at the Mumbai and Kanpur cities, and also worked as Microsoft student partner. So like I mean the association with Microsoft, I've been since my college days. Since from 2014, I became Microsoft student partner, and since then I've been learning and like growing each other. So that's a part of about me. Now let's move forward. So let's talk about what's today in the agenda. So if we talk about what we are going to discuss today, so it's about like what are chatbots. So first we are going to look at the history and how the chatbots evolve and everything. And then we are going to talk about Azure Bot Services. So what is all about Azure Bot Services, like how we can build chatbots, how we can integrate these chatbots to our different channels like Facebook, Messenger, and MS Teams and Telegram or other any like communication channels nowadays we are using. And then we will see a demo like how we can create these Azure Bot services and we can use these in one of our channel. So if you are managing some Facebook page, as you say, or you have some Microsoft Teams, so you can integrate these chatbots and like give the access to your users or employees. So I mean, they all can use those chatbots and get like I mean, you can give them a benefit of fast query. So this is all about agenda what we are going to today. And now let's talk about history of the conversation, how this is evolved. So like in early days, I mean initially, I mean when we were born, like I mean I guess, so at that time people used to I mean talk in the conversation, like they used to write letters and they used to send those letters to I mean their relatives or friends, and then they used to write and respond back. And that part like used to take 15 or 20 days. I mean then people like if I'm going to write a letter today and I'll send it, then it will reach in 10 days and then they will respond. And like so it's a process like 10 to 15 days they used to take. And in nowadays, like I mean we can't wait that much. So I mean since the technology evolved and after the we are moving to I mean the ease of communication, it's improving day by day. So after like letters, the people started telecommunicating over this telephones and like landline telephones, where they used to have like people in their homes. We had like wired telephones and we used to talk only at home. And then people started using mobile phones. So see, I mean, that's how the conversation, like communications, is evolving. I mean, with the evolve of technology. So after that, like I mean, using the cell phones now, we can talk anywhere. And after that, the bots, like I mean, the messenger apps came, like WhatsApp, Facebook, Messenger, and other Telegram. So we can just text it. So the communication, like I mean, people used to talk via like speech to speech. Then it became like text to speech or something like. So that's how the communication has evolved over the time. And now if we talk about in the organizations, like because the organizations are like, I mean, they are growing fast, they want to give users a best user experience. So if we talk about, I mean, organization is handling 10 customers and they have only 2 or 3 resources, I mean, so they can't handle that much of query. I mean, when the 10 users simultaneously calling their customer care numbers and they have only 3 resources, then they in the long time, like the wait period will be high, and the customers, they will lose the users. So they don't want to afford that. They can't afford like losing their users, their customers. So what they are looking, they need to create some a method where the, if they like, I mean, customer or user tries to contact them, then the first person, the bots will be available, and they will I mean, the basic queries they will handle. And if the basic queries can't be handled by, I mean, the query can't be handled by bot, then they will transfer it to the live human agent. So that's how the communication is evolving nowadays. I mean, if you see, I mean, in banks, or like we call most of the customer cares whenever nowadays. So if you have seen, like, I mean, first time, the first person who will be talking to you over any of the customer, like banking service or any other user portal, they will be bot, they will be bot, and they will be asking you predefined questions like, how can they can help you, what is the query. And if they are not able to help you in that, then only they will be going to connect with the live human being. So then I mean, they will be looking at all the history what you have talked to the bot, and then they will understand your query, and then accordingly they will resolve your query. So that's how the conversation has evolved over the period of time. Now, if we talk about chatbots, like, I mean, most of the part I've already said, like the chatbots are nothing but it's a kind of like communication method. So I mean, the large organization, or even nowadays in every website, if you visit, there you will see a small messenger type of button. If you click that, there will be a pop-up come, and then you just need to enter your name and you need to enter your query. So immediately that those bots, they have been like predefined with the I mean, all the query results, basic query like what you can ask, and they will answering you on in the same way. So I mean, nowadays chatbots are nothing but it's a kind of website or a app where you can just interact with in a way like you are talking to a live human being. So that's how the chatbots are. So I mean, in terms of the definition, so chatbot is nothing but it's a software application where we can do the communication and we can get our queries resolved. So that's what is chatbots. And if we talk about why do we need chatbots, so if we talk about the need of chatbot, like we I said, over the period of the how the communication has evolved, and the organizations, they can't afford to lose their user base or customers. So what they are looking like, in when they initially, they faced a lot of struggle, like, I mean, they had only 2 or 10 resources, and the customer base, they were simultaneously calling them. So the wait time of the user was increasing, and the users can't, I mean, they were not able to hold off the I mean, customers, because no one, like, if someone says to me that I need to wait for 10 minutes to get my query resolved, I mean, to get simple answers. So obviously we are not going to wait for that much long. We don't want to wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes just to get our query resolved. So what they are looking at solutions where they can interact with the user base on the basis of like what they need initially. And if the, I mean, in the basic, because most of the time what we need, we just need some simple answers. Like if you in the Amazon, if you have placed an order, so I mean, you want to know the status of your delivery, like when the delivery is coming, when your order is going to be dispatched. So what they have done, they have developed a bot system, chatbot system, in which if you ask the query that when my order is going to be delivered, so the chatbots will be looking at the history of the order, and then they will respond to you that okay, the delivery date is the next 2 days. So those chatbots will respond to you immediately that okay, your delivery date is 13, and you will get the your package by in within 2 days. So I mean, if imagine like the same query needs to be resolved by a human agent, so the human agent will not be available immediately, and you have to wait like 10 minutes, and then you are getting the same answer that your order will be delivered in 2 days. So I mean, you have waited 10 minutes, and then you got the same simple answer. So for those kind of, I mean, you user will not accept those kind of, I mean, we as a human don't want that kind of scenario. So what we have, companies are looking, they are trying to build the chatbots where we, I mean, the front and I mean, at the front end, I mean, they will be, chatbots will be handling your queries. And if something like, I mean, a query which is, which they can't resolve, I mean, if you ask something like, what is the, some why my order is being delayed, so chatbot will respond you that they can't understand, like, or they don't know the scenario, full scenario. Then they will ask you, do you want me to agent to a live agent? So if you say that yes, I want to connect to a live agent, then they will transfer those whole communication to a live agent. And then the live agent, like a live human being, they will be contacting with you. And then you can ask your queries like, okay, why my order is being delayed, or what is the other cases. So though in that way, this is become a lot easier. So that's why we need chatbots, I mean, so that we, the organizations can hold a user, and they can build a customer satisfaction I mean, at the high level. So, and if we talk about the potential benefits of chatbots, so if you see that, I mean, these are like engaged with chat generation, because we are a people in a generation where we are just want to text it. And we, if we have text something, then we want to hear it back, I mean, immediately. We don't want to wait for 2 hours or 1 hour. So uh, I mean, if chatbots are, they can engage with your audience immediately. And I mean, these are also lowered like business cost to serve internally and externally. Like, I mean, if you are going to hire 15 people for the same repetitive task, like, I mean, to engage with, then obviously it's going to take, it's going to cost the business. And if you just build a bot in one time, and then it will be handling all your queries again and again. So I mean, you just have to pay, like businesses have to pay for the one time cost. I mean, they just need to build, and over the time it will evolve. I mean, if you want to add some other services to the bots, other queries, I mean, as you will be getting some more queries, and then bots can learn. So in that way, I mean, but I mean, effectively, this will lower the business cost, and also improved resource focus. Like, I mean, the potential benefit, like we are talking. So I mean, because on when we have like five resources, and two are for the handling the queries of the users, and then three are. So if I mean, when customer base, like customer traffic increases to the website, so what in that case, if they are not able to handle it, so I mean, chatbots will be handling those queries, but other resources, they can, I mean, focus on the tasks which are more important. So in the, I mean, the users, they can focus on the task of the users which need, I mean, live human connection. So those tasks they will be handling. And also, I mean, it's a fast way to connect with the users, and like provide the information what a user needs. And also, I mean, the chatbots, obviously, if you have seen, like we have used nowadays Alexa or Cortana, Siri. So those are also like, they behave in a friendly way. It's not like we are talking to some robot, and they are not able to understand. So chatbots are like, I mean, they are becoming intelligent, and they behave in a friendly way. So those are main benefits. Now if we talk about like, so like, if we are building the chatbots, and we have need to, so before, like, after, once we build it a chatbot, then we will need to host it. So for hosting, I mean, there are options available, like Microsoft, we can host it on the cloud, we can host it on Google Cloud, on or Amazon Web Services. So I mean, clouds are available, multiple clouds are available, because the chatbot is nothing but it's a software application. So ultimately we need a platform where we can host. And if you don't want to host it on any cloud, then also we can host it on our own on premises server. So that's also option. But if we talk about like, when we have the public cloud options available, so we should be, I mean, I would recommend that we should go with the cloud options, because there we get a lot of flexible benefits. I mean, other services, it's because on public cloud the services are large, and we can get on, I mean, we don't need to spend a lot more money on infrastructure cost, server cost, and other licensing cost. We just need to get a subscription of Microsoft Azure, and we can host our quick and running chatbot. So like just because we are going to talk about like how we can host a chatbot on Microsoft Azure. So let me tell you like what is Azure. So Azure is nothing but it's a public cloud platform where we can host our applications from website to we can use a VMs, virtual machines and servers and machine learning, artificial intelligence. So it's a whole lot package in which I mean we can get like 100 plus services which are available for us to use. Okay, so that is Azure. And now if we talk about Azure Bot Services, so the second point in our agenda, like what is Azure Bot Service? So Azure Bot Service, if we talk about, so it's nothing but it's a managed service which allows us to just quickly build our bot. And I mean, in minimum code, if we don't want to write any code in any language, we can do that. It's a fully managed service. So I mean, it's also it offers in a platform as a service, or it can also offer as a software as a service. So it's available in both. If we want to code our bot, we can do that. We can just I mean code our whole bot from the bot framework composer, or on the online services. But if you talk about Azure Bot Service, so it's a whole package. So if you see about this screen, so it's like on the left side you are as a if you are a developer, so you are a developer and you are building the bot using bots builder SDK. You have the code, and then you will what you will be doing that you your code will go to the I mean it will reside in the Azure cloud platform. And then you will be like adding API calls. Via your API calls you will be connecting your Azure bot to these multiple conversation channels. If we talk about email, Facebook, Skype, Slack, Telegram, so you can connect your bot to all these channels. And if your user is asking any questions from any of these channels, the bot will be able to handle your user queries. So this is all about like I mean Azure Bot Service, how we can connect. So I mean to connect our bot services, we will be connecting you via some API calls and other. Okay, so next we will be seeing how we can create a conversational bot. So I mean to create a conversational bot, it all starts from how we what the our need. Like see, if we want to develop a bot, so first we need to know like what is our business and what user is going to ask. So those are the like in the planning stage what we will need to do. So in the planning stage we will be seeing like what will be our use cases, what will be the common queries of our users, and what if for basic queries what the bot needs to respond. So in the planning phase what we will be designing cards like okay, if bot asks what is Azure service, so for for this question what bot needs to answer. And if the follow up question comes like how how Azure can help my organization, then what needs to answer. So in that way, I mean, we all those scenarios we will be developing in the planning phase. And then once we have all planned, like how the bot, what will be the questions, what will be the answers, bot needs to provide. In that way, after planning phase we will be moving to the build stage. So in the build stage we can use bot builder SDK, like I mean it's a SDK software development kit, so it's all available in the GitHub. So you can use those in the SDK and you can code it down. Or if you don't want to code, you can start with the templates. I mean in the Microsoft GitHub, if you see the bot builder SDK, you can get a multiple templates where you can start. Like if you are not able to get the idea like how you can start, so what you can do, you can go to and take one of the templates, and using that template you can start your bot, like how you can move ahead. And once you use that template and then you get the clear picture like how you can code it, you can start coding your bot in your own code, like how you want to answer and how you want to design. So in that way you can code it down. And then we have the testing phase. So like once you have wrote it down, like once the code is written and now you want to test it. So what you will need like to test the bot, because see bot is a user interaction, so you need to send some questions and bot needs to respond to those questions. So you need to test that. You have emulators like bot framework. In the bot framework, you can test it down. You can just it's a kind of web application. So in the web app, you can just type your queries and then send it to the bot, and then bot needs to answer those questions. So in the testing phase, we can use emulator. So emulator is nothing but like, I mean, it's a kind of live application where you will be acting as a your end user, and you will be sending those queries to the uh, bot via emulator, and then bot will need to respond to your queries. So in that way, you will be you can test your bots. And then after, like, once you have done the testing and you feel that your bot is like ready to go live, I mean to handle the our user base, so you can publish that bot. And to publish that, you can use DevOps tools. Like on Azure, we have Azure DevOps. So you can use those tools to publish your bot or bring your own web host. So BYO, like bring your own host. Like if you have like on-prem infrastructure, so you have on-premise servers where where you want to host your bot. So you can I mean, you can take one of your servers and activate this as your bot host. So you can publish that bot on your own web on servers. Okay. And once you have published that bot, now what comes the part where you want to connect your bot to multiple channels. So like it's ready. Okay, so if you want to connect it, so what you will be doing to connect, like, I mean, you can connect it to web chat, Cortana, Skype, Facebook. So in the connect phase, we have, like, Microsoft has provided multiple connector options. So where you can go, and you don't need to look at all the things, like how the code will be have, how this will be connected. They have developed some, I mean, pretty nice frameworks. I mean, in that, you just need to put your application details, and your bot will be connected to your Microsoft Teams or your Facebook Messenger page. So if you are connecting to Facebook Messenger, like, you need your app ID, your token, secure token, to connect and communicate on your behalf. So those small things you will need to configure, and your bot will be ready to handle your user base. And then after you have connected, so I mean, if you really want to build like a friendly and a bot which can learn from user questions, like if I mean, if a question comes, and that question doesn't have the I mean, the your question list, and bot doesn't know the answer of that. So what you can do, like, those questions the bot will send you, and you can develop answers to that, and in that way bot will be learning. So for that, like, I mean, in the that part comes in evaluate, like how the bot is handling queries. And if bot is like, I mean, out of 100, if bot is not able to handle 50 questions, so you will need to increase the efficiency of your bot. So if you need to increase the efficiency of your bot, what you will be doing, you will be looking at the application inside, and then you will be adding like Lewis. So Lewis is nothing but it's a language understanding, like, I mean, uh, suggestion. So what it does, Luis, I mean, we define intent, like what user is sending the, and then on the basis of that, artificial intelligence, that, I mean, it's on the learning, it's a continuous learning, and based on those, it will be responding. So in that way, you can make your bot more like a learn in the learning phase, and it will be evolving as per your user needs, and it will be becoming more and more like intelligent. So it will become more intelligent bot. So till now, like, I can, if I see, is there any questions on the screen? Hmm, so I don't see any
No, sir.
questions.
Yes, no, sir, no questions.
Okay, we are good to go. So the next thing which comes, now we will be looking at how we can create a chat. Okay, chatbot. So what I'm doing, I'm using a two monitors. So I'm just going to start by creating so what we will be doing, we will be looking at the Q&A maker, how we can make a Q&A maker using the Azure bot. So what we are going to do, we will be just searching Q&A maker. So if you go ahead in this, what So Q&A Maker, it's a, like a it's a pre-built service from the Microsoft. And what you can do if you have a running working website, and I mean, if you go and you have built a website, so there will be some FAQ page in your website. So if you want to because FAQ page will be in a different separate page, and you don't want that user, which I mean any user comes to your website and they need to go to the FAQ page and look for answers. So what you can do, whatever you have written in the FAQ, what you can just take that page and build a Q&A bot, and you can implement that bot in your website. On the left, I mean right hand side, I mean bottom side, you can just add that bot, and if any user have any queries, they can just click on that and they can type the queries, and they will get answers. So in this, I mean Q&A maker, what I'm going to do, I'll just need to sign in. So if you have what I mean to use this account, what you will need a active Azure subscription to create a Q&A maker, because we will be hosting this on a Microsoft Azure platform. So if you have Azure subscription, you can just follow along, and if you don't have, then you can activate the free subscription. Like I mean, Microsoft Azure provides students discount, and also if you want to learn, so it will, if you sign up, I mean, initially it will credit $200, and using those 200, you can do the, I mean, all these exercises. You can experiment all the bot services and everything. So just a minute, it's trying to sign me in. So once I'm able to sign in, so I will go. So if you see, I'm in the create a knowledge base. So create a knowledge base. If you see the step one, it says that Q&A service. So first of all, because we are going to host this Q&A service in Microsoft Azure, so first of all, we will need to create a Q&A service in Microsoft Azure. So if we go ahead and create a Q&A service, so it will take me to the portal of Azure web app, and again, I just need to sign in. So in the sign-in page, I mean, we will be creating a Q&A service in Microsoft Azure first, and then that service will be used in our Q&A maker. Okay. So in the meantime, okay. So if you see, like, okay, I'm in the portal .azure.com slash create Microsoft Cognitive Service Q&A maker. So I'm going to create a new Q&A service in my Azure subscription, which we will be using to create our final bot. So to create this, I mean, you need a subscription. So if you like, you can sign in, and if you can see, if you have multiple subscription, and then you can also select what subscription you want to use for this Q&A service. So from subscription page, you can select the subscription, and then to resource group. So resource group is nothing but it's a kind of like a container where you will be keeping all your services, all your like I mean, because when we are creating a Q&A service and then we will be hosting it, so because we don't want to create buy our own infrastructure servers, and we don't want to take the headache of like managing the servers. So what we are doing, we are managing creating all the services in the cloud. So I mean, resource group will be acting as a your infrastructure. So in that, we can create a new resource, and we will be naming it Azure Bot Demo 31st01. We need to give a unique name. Okay. And now we are giving a name. Then I'm going to give the same name, Azure Bot Demo 3101. Okay. Then comes the pricing tier. So because we are experimenting and we are not working as a big infrastructure, so at the basic level we can use the free tier. So if you see that it says free F03 managed documents per month, 3 transactions per second and 100 transactions per minute. So like if because we are experimenting, then this will free tier free FO will work for us. And if you are in a big enterprise organization, so then you can use standard. So we will be using this free tier. Okay, and then we will be giving some other details, whatever what all detail it's need. Okay, and just click on the create and review. So it will just run the quick check, and if there are no issues, then it will create. So let me just, so it says required information is missing or not valid. So let me see what information is missing. Okay, as your search pricing we need to select. So here also like search, I mean search is something like, because we when the Q&A service we are making a Q&A. So what it does, Q&A service, it looks I mean it searches all the option questions and answers in the using the Azure search service. So for Azure search service also, I mean it's a service. So there are options which we can select. So because we are experimenting, again we will be using free F tier, and we don't want to select any, because we are not on the enterprise organization level where we have too much queries. If you have those kind of requirement, you can definitely select those options accordingly. So now I'm going to create this service. Okay, and you see it will just take 1 or 2 minutes to create the service, and then it will be deploying our Q&A service. So once this will be deployed, we will be looking here in this, and then we can get that like if you see here, I will be selecting that subscription, and then I will be selecting. So once this will be deployed in this Azure cloud, those that service will be available. Okay, so what it says, saying to me, would exceed free tier service quota, you are using one. Okay, so I guess I initially created one Azure service, and because of that it's not allowing me. So what I'll do, maybe I can choose a different subscription. Okay, let me go ahead and choose a different subscription. Maybe I'll choose this sponsorship maybe, and let me see if it's allowing me to create this. Okay, because in one subscription you can create only one free tier service. In a one subscription you can't create multiple free services. So in others you will need to select some standard services. Okay, so it's validating, and just give it 1 or 2 minutes, and then it will be like, if all the checks are valid and there is no violation, so it will be initializing. So see, now you can see that it's initializing the deployment of the resource group Azure Bot Demo 3101. Okay, so it will take hardly 1 minute or 2 minutes to deploy my resources. And once these resources are deployed on the Azure cloud, I can use these resources in the Q&A maker. So I'll be just looking at this. If you see, it's still deploying. Deployment is in progress. Okay, and so we will not be able to see our Q&A service in this list. So once it's deployed, after that we will be like, it will be available in this Azure Q&A service. So we will need to wait till this service becomes available. And if we can see the status, it says that okay, created, and still deployment is in progress. So few services are created. Okay, deployment succeeded. Go to resources. So I'm going to look at the resource page. Okay, and our this resource group is created. So now if we go to this page, and if we will need to refresh this, we just need to refresh our this service. Okay, because in the first step we have created resource Q&A service in the Microsoft Azure. Now we will need to refresh it, and we need to select that like subscription name. Then okay, I guess I've selected different pass. Okay, now you can see that Azure Bot Demo 3101, it's available in the Azure Q&A service. And once I selected that Q&A service, I can go ahead and select a language. So what language I want to select. So I mean chit chat and extraction available, only extraction. So chit chat, I mean these languages are available. Chit chat, like chit chat means, I mean it will be communicating in a I mean like how we communicate with our friends, like in some non professional ways. So I'm just going to select here English. And now if we go to the populate your KB, so KB knowledge base. So as I was telling, like I mean if you have a website and you have a FAQ page, frequently asked questions page, so that will be in a like HTML page. Or if you have some PDF files in which you have written questions and answers, so you can include those, I mean those files also. So if you see extraction questionnaire pairs from an online FAQ, product manuals, or other files supported. So if you see the supported files are different, like it's a multiple. It supports PDF files, it support document docs files, I mean Excel files also you can include. So what we will be doing, I'm going to select I mean Microsoft Azure FAQ page. I'm taking that, and based on out of that I'm going to build a Q&A service. So I'm going to search Azure FAQ. Okay, so if we see, we have this Azure support plans FAQ, right? And I'm going to select this URL. Okay, and I'm going to build my Q&A like knowledge base out of this URL. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this URL in my this URL page. From this I'm adding that knowledge base. And if we like here we can select the chit chat. So if you are like going to present this demo to your management, so that they can approve the this chatbot experience on the business website or something. So I would recommend that you need to select professional way. And if you are experimenting, you can select friendly or witty, I mean so these are methods where your chatbot responds in some friendly I mean communications, like hey, hi, how are you, so those kind of thing. So I'm going to select something friendly. Okay, and then I'm just need to click. Okay, so it says knowledge base name must cannot be okay. So I need to give it a name to my knowledge base. So what is this like I'm going to name it Azure FAQ KB. Okay, knowledge base. And then I'm going to create my knowledge base. So like it will also take 1 or 2 minutes just to create the knowledge base, and it's going to fetch all the uh, questions and answers based on like this URL. Because on this URL FAQ page, if you see like what is Azure support available, and these are questions, and then we have those answers. So based on these questions, these are answers. So what it does, Q&A service, it takes these questions and then it extracts the answers. Okay, so if you see, I guess it has created, and it got 129 Q&A pairs. So 129 Q&A pairs, I mean, so if your user asks what is your support available, so it's going to answer you billing and subscription. So these are, you can see here, question and answers. Okay, so if you have some extra questions and what you want to include out of these, you can also add a Q&A pair, and from this you can add the first what is question. Like if I want to add your user asks, like, I mean, initially, you generally, when you start a conversation, you say hi, hey. So for that, you want to, like, from your bot, you want to respond that, hello, how we can help you today. Okay. So in this way, these will be, you have added a question, and for that answer. So once your Q&A, like these Q&A pairs are available, so what you can do, you can just uh, test these Q&A answers. Okay. So what I will be doing, I will be just going to test these. Okay. So I have created this service, and okay. So because of my some screen resolutions, I believe this is. So once it's created, what I can do, I can just, if you see, these options are available, save and train. So once we do this, we will just, uh, I mean, we are making sure that our questions answers are correct. So if we have added some new question and answer, so we will need to save and then train. Okay. So I've done that, and what I'll be doing. Okay. So okay. So my questions and these are ready. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on the test. So what I can do, I can test it before publishing it. So because I have created the question and answer Q&A pair, so now I'm just going to test. So if I mean in the same portal itself, why? So if I just click hi, so for this, if you see, I mean, because I selected the friendly, so because of that, it's I mean, adding these response, like for hi, it's responding hi. But if I type hello, okay, it's not behaving in the way. So what if I ask a question? What is Azure? And let's see what it responds. Okay. So if you see, like for the questions, what I typed, what is Azure, it gave me the full answer. Go to the portal and create a support request, subscription management, support everything. Right. So I mean, if you see, these like the answers are not correct because it has what this Q&A service has done. It has extracted all the questions and answers pair from the FAQ page, which I provided to this page. Okay. So from that, it extracted all those things. So based on that, it's giving me answers. And let's say Azure services. So if I type Azure services, you can see that it's answer giving me some Azure support plans, cover most topics. So all the answers. And once we are satisfied that okay, the this bot is like giving answers in a nice way, and it can handle our users. So what we can do, we can go ahead and publish this bot. So once we do that, like publish, so if you see what it's doing to like publishing your knowledge base moves your Q&A from the test index to the production index. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to publish it so that I can use it in our one of our communication channels like WeChat or Microsoft Teams, or if I want to use it in Facebook page. So see, so now I have I mean published it. So your service has been deployed. So what it has done, it has deployed my Q&A service to the Microsoft Azure cloud. Okay. So now the part comes like creating a bot for this so that I can use this service Q&A service in our communication channels. So if I click that create a bot, what it's going to do, it's going to take me again to the Azure portal where I can create a bot service. Okay, I can create a bot. So I'm going to do that. So it's going to take me to the Azure portal, and from that I can create my bot. Then I will be linking that bot to my Microsoft Teams, from where I can communicate. So because I have created this Q&A service earlier, and based on that I click this create bot option. So what it does, it gives a automatic name. I don't need to fill all the information, like if you see bot handle name as your bot demo, then bot. Okay, so based on that Q&A service names and all resource group, what it does, it fills all the information, basic information. But and what you need to do, you need to fill small things like for pricing tiers, what pricing you want to, like FO, this initial free service tier service, or S1 standard service. So I'm going to select this free. And like I told you earlier, like we can code also. So to code it, we will be selecting the language like SDK language. So if we want to code it in C sharp or Node.js, so I'm going to select the C sharp basic one. And if you are the Node.js developer, then you can select the Node.js, and it once the bot, it will create a bot. Then also after that you can download the whole source code, and then you can modify the code also. So if you are a Node.js developer, you can select the Node.js, and because this source code will help you to download that in the Node.js language, and then only you can code it. So if you are a C sharp developer, you can go ahead with C sharp. So it's going to validate it, and after validations I can create my bot. So you can see it's initializing the deployment, creating a bot. Okay, so it will just take 1 or 2 minutes hardly, because the services are too fast. So based on some, because it creates resources and something, so it hardly takes 1 or 2 minutes, and after that it will be available for us to use. Okay, so it's still deploying. Just give it 1 or 2 minutes, and after that it will be deployed, and then we can use this chatbot to our different channels. Okay, so you can see the deployment, it succeeded. So now I'm just going to go ahead in the resource page, and here you can see download the bot source code. So if you want to download your bot source code and you want to make some changes, you can go ahead and click this button. What it will do, uh, it will just download the whole code, source code of this bot, and then it will see, ask if you want to source settings also. It's creating a zip file, and you can, using that zip file, you will be like using that code in the in one of your IDE. You can use that code in VS Code or somewhere, and then what you can do, you can code it out. So for the coding parts, coding part, the bot is written. So if you want to, fetch, write our own logics. For that part, we can download the bot source code. Because if you have seen, like current till now, I haven't wrote a single line of code. So till now we have used the Microsoft pre-built services, and using that, it has like written all the code and for us, and it has created a bot. And once the basic bot is available, what in future, after creating a basic bot, what we will be doing, we will be using that bot to make it more intelligent, make it more user friendly. So for that part, we will need the code. So for that part, we can download the source code, and then we can look at the source code, use that source code, how it's behaving, how it's communicating to Azure services, for the, like, you fetching answers through API. Okay. So for code, like I mean, code is basically for communicating to the Azure cloud services. It's not like that if else statement making logic for answering questions. It's not code is not for those kind of code. Is just for the I mean communicating with Azure cloud, because it's a Azure cognitive based service. So it's not like if else statement. It's something, because if you have seen when I was asking here hi in the Q&A service, it was responding like in a friendly way. So even if I type mistype, like for Azure, if I type AG, so it will I mean understand your question and it will give answer. So if you have simple if else statement, it will not be able to match the question and it will not be able to give any answer. So that's where I mean in this code is not I mean if else statements are not there. So code is for communicating with the cloud services to fetch the answers. Okay. And now if we to make it to communicate like to add this to different channels, what we if you go to this page, you can see what different channels are available. So this channel list is I mean it's a continuous improvement, and Microsoft is continuously working on these services. So I mean if we see today we have these many channels, and maybe if you see 2 days or 5 days later, you will have some different more services available. So the default one is web chat. So I mean as I was linking in I mean testing in the Q&A maker itself, so that is the default web chat option. So that option is available default, but if I want to add this to different channels, so what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to add this to Microsoft Teams. So if you see, I'm going to add this to Microsoft Teams, and just so that I can configure this to Microsoft Teams, and I can ask questions from Teams. Okay. So I'm just configuring this in the Microsoft Teams. It's going to take hardly a few seconds. Okay. So let me see what it's doing. Hmm, Just it's taking some time to configure this to the messaging. Okay, so it's just taking some 1 or 2 minutes to configure this in my Teams channel. Okay. And once it's available, I will be communicating to this bot from the Microsoft Teams. So if you see here, my channel, Microsoft Teams channel is available. And if I just open it in the Teams, I can now communicate to this bot from my Microsoft Teams itself. Okay. So I'm just going to use the web I mean Microsoft Teams in web, and then I'm going to communicate from the web itself. Okay. So it's just initializing the bot. Okay. So Lakshit, like you are saying, what if you want to some advanced features like on input of one, it will show some message, and on two, it will give some sort of message. So for that, like I mean, if you want some basic input one and input two, so you can embed those questions in Q&A based service. In the Q&A maker itself, where I was just testing it. So in that you can include those questions. But if you want to include some intelligent questions, I mean some based on different kind of scenarios, you can use some other Azure cognitive services like speech to text, because sometimes you all in future you may also want to give some like if user want to just talk give question in base of like voice. So to use those services, you can include those all services like speech to text and other Azure cognitive services, like based on intelligent AI services. So there are different services available in Microsoft cognitive based service. Those services you can include in your chatbot, and using those services it will answer your queries. So you can see the Azure demo bot demo, it's available. And if I type question in this Microsoft Teams, so it will be giving me answers from the my bot service. Okay, so it's responding. Wait, it's taking some time. Okay, so you can see. So because I selected that friendly behavior to make. No, it's not. I'm not going to say it libraries. It's a kind of fully managed services. These are not libraries, because libraries we can modify. But if you talk about speech to text cognitive service, we can't do any modifications in those services, because these services are available from Microsoft. So we can use these services as a like service based. If we when we use software as a service or service, so in that way we can use those features, but it's not like it's not in terms of libraries. So you are going to like means someone has added model and data sets, so that advanced feature. So yeah, if someone has data sets, they can embed those data sets from the Q&A service. They can include those data sets in the Q&A service. And there are also some other feature like Lewis. So what it does, you can build those language understanding. So what is Lewis service is how we speak, like the Cortana service available in Microsoft. So Lewis service, that is also a part of cognitive Azure, Microsoft Azure cognitive services. So usage works in that way. And if you have some database data sets, you can embed those directly in Q&A service, because data sets are what, like in data sets you have some information in data sets, right? So that information you can directly include in Q&A based Q&A service. And since because it's a Microsoft service, so it has some intelligent services, like because if I just type Azure, it's going to give you answer. And even if I type Azure, sir, I misspelled. Okay, after that also it will give me response. It's not like it's not going to give me any response. Okay, so you can see. Okay, so this is all about like Microsoft in this, and I've shown you that this bot you can include in different channels also. So if you have other channels, Facebook Messenger page, you can include that Facebook Messenger page. So if you go ahead for Facebook, I'm not going to add that, because for that I will need to create a Facebook new page, and then I will be able to configure. So if you are following along, you can do that in your free time using the you can go at in your Facebook ID, create a new page, you will get a app ID and then secret codes, and you can just put those in this service based, and then your bot will be able to respond to you in Messenger itself. So currently I'm just talking from the Microsoft Teams, and you can do that in the Facebook also. So you can test it out. Okay, so I guess all this is clear to you guys, and I'm just going to look at if there are any other questions in the questions comment section. I can't see any question. Lakshit, I guess, do you have any other questions?
No, sir. Right now, I have no questions. Like I just messed up. I was creating the bot with you, but I messed up in the code part somewhere. So I just
Uh,
stuck at that time. That's
uh,
why.
okay, okay. No, no. Tell me, like, which part you are messed up. Because I can help you in that part, because
Why
that
I
maybe if other people are following, they can also get clear. Like, so in which part, like, where are you currently? Like, Uh,
Like while I
so
was just fetching the code, they're deploying the code. It was not. It was giving an error. It was giving an error. The code language is inappropriate, like something, and or it is giving some like throwback error, runtime error. It was giving with the code. So I
uh,
was not sure about this.
are you getting error in the bot creation page?
Yes, sir. It means while I was deploying the code into my bot, that time it was giving the error.
Okay, in Q&A service itself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Maybe if you can elaborate like what error you are getting. Are you still getting error? Or if you can, maybe if you have any other you are not able to resolve, you can message me later also. I can help you, because I, after all, like I want
Yes,
you that your bot should be running. Yeah. So it's not an issue.
yes,
And
sir. I
if any of the user, like whoever is watching, so if they have any issue, they
also.
can always ping me. They can always ping me, and I'll be able to help you guys, so that you are ready with your bot and you can enjoy the bot conversation. You can add as many question answers in the Q&A maker. Like if you don't uh, I mean, the way you talk to your friends, if you want to include those questions and answers, you can do that, and you can have your own fun also, so you can enjoy that part. Yeah. So that's all from my side, I guess. And hope I was able to deliver you guys some like a nice learning, because it's I hope that you guys learn something new, so that you can start your bot journey. And for continued, like I was telling, that my conversational AI solutions, so you can go ahead to this link. I can just post this link in the chat, and Lakshit, you can highlight this in the comment section, so that they can start
Yes,
learning conversational AI solutions, and they will be able to learn something more. So thank you guys. That's all from my side. Thank you, Lakshit,
thank you.
for hosting me. Thank you so much. It was really nice giving you guys something to learn. Yeah.
So it was
And
our pleasure to have you here because I was just doing the things which way you were doing. I was just following you, and it was literally I was just getting everything what you were saying basically. So it was nice working with you, sir. I really got some beautiful insights about Azure Bot Services today. Thank you for joining as a valuable speaker for us today, and I am hoping to get a beautiful insights for you collaborate in future also. And sir, the thing is, I'm going to, as soon as my bot will start working, I'll make a post with tagging you in the LinkedIn. Okay.
yeah,
So,
great.
so I'll,
Sure.
yes. Sir. So thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you for
Thank you
joining.
so
Thank
much.
you, everyone. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
And thank you, sir. We are going to end our broadcast. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, sir.
Thank you.